All right. Today I want to do things a little differently. I'm gonna first tell you a story, and then I'm gonna go into it, into actually what's on my mind, what's going on. All right. So first things first. Today I want to speak about living outside of my head. I want to stop living in my head. I want to get out of my head. So let me tell you the story first. So first things first. The story. This was 2023. It was the first year at the time, and I went to a rugby camp with the first team, and we went to this place, super cool place near the river. I think it's the border between the Northwest and the Free State. So it's right there on the border. It's about like an hour 30 from Potchefstroom. So yeah, it was cold. It was winter as well. We camped there, and it was a very fun experience. My first rugby camp, if you want to call it that. We did a lot of team building, team point exercise, gruesome fitness. Oh my word, terrible. I did like a plan for like 4 minutes or something. I didn't even know I could do that. It was terrible. But those that were there should comment, and yeah. Anyway, get back to the point. So we did a lot of activities, but the one that stood out to me the most was this activity that we did as a team building exercise that we did basically to kind of, Coach JJ was trying to show us how to basically open our eyes and how to look up and stop looking down in the rugby term, but he used real life scenarios. So he would basically describe things on campus, and then we would have to tell him what it is, because probably if you're walking around campus you can recognize something. So he'd be like the place where people like to take pictures a lot, and then you'd be like by the cafe at the Lob building, so the fountain at the Lob building. And then he described, this is the point of the story anyway. Then he described a war hero who has a monument at the campus near Lovers Lane. Now, if you go to the NW Potchefstroom campus, you would know where Lovers Lane is. Everyone knows where Lovers Lane is. You walk through there like every day. I don't think it's possible for someone to go a week without walking through Lovers Lane. I don't think it's possible. I walk through Lovers Lane at least 3 times a day. At least 3 times a day. But to be fair, I spend a lot of time at the library, but that's not the point. The point is that he mentioned this stone head of this person, and none of us knew what it was. I was a first year, and like there was like 5 other first years, and the rest of them were like seniors. They'd been there for like 3-4 years, some of them, whatever, and they didn't know. They didn't know as well what it was. We didn't. It was the Salt Blackie statue, or like monument, a memorial thing, and I think it's super nice. It's super beautiful, but I'd never seen it, And he was just trying to point out to us that we don't live life. We are kind of floating through life. We don't look up and see what's around us, and that is what we do in the rugby field as well. He was just trying to point that out. So it was like a double thing. So it was like the rugby side is that stop following the ball and look up around you, see where the spaces are, run in the spaces, see where your teammates are, get in a position where you can support your teammates, and especially for the forwards, don't just keep following the ball. And in a life sense, it was about you are not experiencing life in its true essence. You are just kind of, like a tumbleweed in those Western American movies, like a tumbleweed, like that thing that they have in like cowboy type movies, a Western movie, a cowboy type movie, I don't know. You get the picture, that thing and it rolls in like the desert. That's what we're doing. We're like just rolling through life as the wind pushes us. He was trying to show us that. And 2026 now, and those words still, they still have some meaning, They still have some relevance to me. So that got me thinking, and that's the story anyway, that's the story. So now I'm gonna get into the actual video, and that got me thinking that I live too much in my head. I mean, I'm realizing now I mean, obviously then as well I had realized that he's right, but like I'm thinking about it now, and in hindsight, that was so impactful because ever since then I've always tried to live a little bit more in the moment, but I keep getting dragged back into my head, back into my internal monologues, back into my delusions. And I truly think that I need to be more intentional about living presently, living in the now and experiencing life in its true essence, and not continuously be in my delusions and live in my head and experience life in my head, or try to be more intentional about everything that I do, be more intentional about experiencing life, put in an actual effort to look up and feel the moment, enjoy the moment, I don't know, experience the moment, take a moment to look at the sunrise, because I'm up in the mornings early, especially with the 75 hot. Take a moment to look at the sunset and actually, don't let life flash through my eyes. I don't know if I'm using that term correctly, but that is the point of this video. That is the point of what I'm trying to get across. That I feel like I'm sitting, oftentimes I find myself sitting at the back burner, and I'm kind of living life on cruise control, and every day it's like the same thing. But I'm not really experiencing any of these things. I'm not really experiencing any of the little joys that this beautiful earth has for us to experience. I'm not as present as I should be. And maybe that's because we're too wrapped up in this cycle that you have to go to school, you have to grind your business, you have to do this, that, and the third, and then money, and and without money you can't do anything, and so it's like maybe that's why. But even with that, it's free to look at the sunset. No one can stop you from looking at the sunset. No one can stop you from looking at the potholes and thinking about the stories of all the cars that have probably bumped and broken and popped their tires on there. Nothing stops you from looking at a tree and thinking, how old is this tree? Nothing stops you from walking around and looking at the sidewalk and thinking, how old is this sidewalk? How many people have walked here? Nothing stops you from walking around and looking at the buildings around you, and looking at the cracks, looking at the imperfections, and looking at how perfect those imperfections are for that building, looking at the trees around you, looking at the roots. Have you noticed that when you look at a tree's roots, how weird it looks? I don't know, it makes my skin crawl sometimes, especially when it's like those ones that are like very veiny, kind of like, they look kind of veiny, I won't lie. Anyway, so live life with a bit more intention. Be intentional about how you approach life. And this ties into a lot of things, and I think this one change, trying to be more intentional with how you live life, or how I want to live life, trying to be more intentional, can affect so many other areas of my life. If you are intentional about wanting to finish a book that you are reading, you will actively put it in places that will make you remember that you need to read the book. If you're actually intentional about doing something, you're gonna make an effort to continuously interact with that thing so that you can get it done. Otherwise, it kind of just floats through life, and you kind of just get used to it being there, and you kind of just get used to it being like a backdrop. It's like if you, as a in a friend group, if you guys are like your friends, and one guy never says anything in like the group chat, or he never comes to events, and he never shows up, you guys are probably gonna ask him to show up. The first 5 to 6-7 times, probably gonna ask him to show up, because you're friends and everyone is friends, and you guys want to do everything together. And then there comes a point where it kind of, it's like that crack on the wall that you've seen so many times that you don't even see anymore. You kind of forget about it. You don't notice it anymore. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Because now you've lost that intent. At first you had the intentionality to actively go out and get this person and whatever the case is. But after a while, life kind of becomes normal without them being in your life. And that's the problem. Life for me has become normal with me dealing with my internal monologues and not interacting with life as much. Now, that could be because I chase the external feelings and run away from the internal feelings. That could be why I'm always chasing getting good grades, getting distinctions, this, that, and the third, always trying to climb up the ladder, so that I can feel like I feel something, so that it looks like I feel something, when I actually, internally, I actually don't feel nothing. So I think with me, there's like a misbalance with my internal tuning and my external tuning. I think I swapped around the hands. This is the external, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And I think there's like a misbalance with that, and I think that's the point. The point is that you need to balance them both. You can't live a happy life if all you do is chase the hype moments. All you do is chase the accolades and the rewards, the money and the fame and all these things. If you don't have the love, the patience, sorrow, the empathy, and all that stuff that comes from the internal side. And maybe that internal side of yours is blocked because you've never truly dealt with some stuff, So maybe that's why I can't, maybe that's why I'm in my head a lot. Maybe, who knows? So I think the reason why I want to live outside of my head, now that I'm gonna end off, I've been thinking about it, and I've realized that over the past few years, as I've changed and as I've grown, I've been a bit more intentional about trying to find things that I like. I've been a bit more intentional about letting go of control and letting go of things that I genuinely can't control. Like, you can't control what people are gonna say about you. You can only control your actions. And I think that letting go of control has been like the biggest thing, because as soon as I let go of control, I was able to truly find all the things that I actually like. Growing up, I still do like hip hop, but I used to hip hop was like 90% of the music I listened to. Now, I think it's like probably like 30%. I listen to shoegaze, I listen to rock, I listen to so much music, bro. Like, I listen to Marvin Gaye. I love Marvin Gaye, bro. Like, I listen, the one thing I still haven't really gotten down to like that is like new age piano. Like, I haven't really found my love again for that. I'm still stuck on the house side, so you're gonna have to forgive me. I just haven't really found my love for piano, but I just listen to so much music, and I could have only done that by stepping out of this cocoon that I had created for myself, where I want to be protected and be seen in a certain way, because so much of life, we go through so much of life. That doesn't sound correct at all. We go through so much, I don't know, but you know what I mean. I don't know, grammar there, something's wrong with that sentence. I don't know. But anyway, so much of our lives we spend worrying about how people are going to perceive us, how people are going to think or that we act, how people, I used to struggle to write notes in class because I used to think that people are going to see me writing notes and they're going to think that I care about doing well, or I don't know. It's so stupid, and it's why I want to live out of my head. I think letting go of control, realizing that you cannot control everything, will allow you, or has allowed me, because this is, I was talking about me at least, has allowed me to be able to find so much of the things that I actually like. You know, I've realized that a lot of the things that I thought I liked was just me tumbling through life and picking up these little trinkets that are in my environment, that are acceptable in my environment, that have made me believe that yes, I'm also like this. But I've never been like that. And how many of us actually know what we truly like? Because in order to know what you truly like, you have to go try something that you might not like. You can't, in order to have the best meals, you have to have the worst meals. You have to take a chance and have any meal. I don't know, something, Anthony Bourdain says something like that. Anyway, I've got this book here. I want to read something from it. This is a book by, I don't know if you can see, but Screw It, Let's Do It. Richard Branson is the guy that created Virgin. So you got Virgin Active, Virgin Mobile, a flight company, Virgin Airways, everything is him. He says here, this is like a chapter in the book, it's called Live the Moment. And I'm just going to read like a small bit. Anyway, live the moment. I can't see the glare from the sun. Not that I can read, guys, it's just that the glare from the sun I can't see properly. Live the moment, love life and live it to the full. Enjoy the moment, reflect on your life, make every second count, don't have regrets. Now, that's, couldn't have said it better if I tried, but I will try. And I'm gonna say that you cannot, life is not something you can rehearse. Life is not something you can kind of like prepare for, and you just gotta live it. And I think I spent too much time in my head trying to prepare, trying to rehearse conversations, trying to look a certain way so that I am perceived a certain way. People's perception of you has, like, I don't know how much it has to do with what you do, but it does not have much to do with what you do, because people can have a perception of you based on things that aren't even true about you, that they don't know are true because they think that they are true, because they have perceived you in a certain way. You know, you might walk out first if you're with your girlfriend. You walk out first in the door. You walk out first. Someone will perceive you as being non-gentlemanly like, but you actively did that because you are looking out for her safety. So, you know, it's just a perception. At the end of the day, you can't do anything about that. Like, it's, people will think what they want to think when they want to think it. And I think that stopped me from living so much of my life for so long. And I think you need to just try to live life with a bit more intention to experience life. You need to be a bit more open to new experiences, trying new things, learning things that you don't know, that are out of your comfort zone. You know, I think it's the best way to get to know the true you, your true self. And you gotta let go. You gotta let go of the control that you think you have over life, and that the control that you think you want people to see you with. And, you know, yeah, because your emotions are so powerful. They are what have driven you to even have made this career decision that you have made. Yeah, you just, I don't know. For me, I want to try to live more in the moment, or at least experience life a bit more in the moment and less in my head. I want to be more intentional about how I live life and how I treat people. And actively try be intentional about it. I want to actively try enjoy life, the little sunsets, the little moments. You know, I know it sounds cheesy maybe to you, but like it makes a difference. It makes a difference in your life, so that you at the end of the day, before you sleep, you've got a highlight instead of just this blob and this, you know. My lips are dry and you should probably put Vaseline on. I don't have any near me. Oh, it's in my pocket. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me was just letting go of control, accepting that people are gonna think what they want to think about me, regardless of what I want to, regardless of what I do and what I can do, you can't control what people think about you. And the little that you can control can still be changed in a whim, because it's someone's perception, and your perception is truly left up for you to decide. So yeah, I just think you should get out of your head and live life with a bit more intent, because I had never seen that statue that JJ spoke about until he told me about it, and then ever since then I've been trying to actively notice all the little beauties of life. And I think, yeah, we should all try to get outside of our head, deal with those emotions that we are running away from, that are making us chase all these external validation, feelings that we think is what will make us happy, but it's probably not gonna ever fill the void that you have in your heart. Yeah, and I think that's all I have for today. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you have not, comment if you relate, or if you have something to say, or if you have something that you want me to speak about, or just anything. You can comment anything. You can comment the number 67 if you want. Bye bye.